2020 has been quite the roller coaster of disasters, affecting the entire world as we know it, and forcing billions of people to a more stay-at-home lifestyle. The pandemic also affected and continues to affect the gaming industry, with major in-person events canceled, game delays. Oh my god, the delays. Yes, we're talking about you, Cyberpunk. Don't you dare. We're too close. For us gamers, the stay-at-home orders didn't seem so bad. There were many games on the horizon to look forward to, and to help us forget about the utter hell world we're living in. We got Doom, we got Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and The Last of Us Part 2, which yes, we actually did enjoy. Ghost of Tsushima was feeling like the year's underdog as time went on. Nobody was really expecting this new IP to shine when up against all these extremely iconic, long-standing franchises. When we saw their first gameplay trailer revealed at E3 2018, we were intrigued. It looked like a polished game, and who doesn't like samurais, but for whatever reason it didn't really top the list of games we were excited about. We don't know about you guys, but it always stayed in the back of our minds. Yeah, this is going to be a good game most likely, but we were never head over heels for it. As it turns out, we couldn't have been more wrong. This game was much more than just good. It exceeded all our expectations, and now we consider it a very solid contender for Game of the Year, and that's high praise when looking at all the competition. Let's discuss this beautiful world Sucker Punch created. We could literally make a whole video just talking about the environment and the breathtaking places you can visit in this game. They truly worked wonders, both in accuracy and in spectacle, to immerse the player into this feudal samurai age. The game takes place in 1274 on the island of Tsushima in Japan, where the player controls Jin Sakai, head of the Sakai clan, as he tries to fight back against the Mongol invasion. But after a devastating loss against the Khotun clan, where almost all samurais were completely massacred, Jin is the hero who fights once again to liberate Tsushima from the oppressors. To do so, though, he has to become something very different from the code of the samurai his uncle Lord Shimura taught him, and had taught him ever since his father was killed by bandits. We have to congratulate Sucker Punch for doing such a good job of showing the protagonist's internal conflict of having to abandon all his beliefs in order to save his people and his home. This aspect of the story is so well integrated into the game that it even affects the weather, creating more storms as Jin goes deeper down the path of the ghost. Giving a brief explanation, samurais had a strict code of a fair fight. No backstabbing, no poison, nothing to hinder the senses of your opponent. Just a straight-on, fair, head-to-head duel. But after almost all samurais were wiped out, Jin realizes that for him to take back the island, he has to do whatever it takes, and doing so, he slowly becomes the Ghost of Tsushima. A cool thing about the game is that you, for the most part, can actually choose how you want to fight. It can be straight head-on, walking into enemy camps, or sneaking up quietly and killing them one by one. We played the head-on samurai way more since we found that type of combat is the most fun, but we'll get deeper into that later. Sometimes the story does force you into one or the other gameplay style, which some players didn't like, but it's something that's necessary for the story that Sucker Punch wanted to tell here, and for Jin's character development. There's a lot to discover and collect, like a lot. There's bamboo strikes, inspirational places for haikus, hot springs, Inari shrines, pillars of honor, Shinto shrines, singing crickets for learning new flute songs, and much more. They're all really easy to find, they literally point them out on the map, but there are also cool in-game elements like the golden birds you can follow that will lead you to one of these interesting places. The game offers many captivating side stories of varying scales. All are definitely engaging and worth playing, though we do feel some didn't get a conclusive enough ending as they might have deserved. For example, with the Ichikama tale. Nevertheless, it's the main story that really keeps you hooked, but we won't go into it further for spoilers' sake. The combat is definitely one of the best aspects of the game. Like we said, we usually opted for head-on combat. The swordplay is very satisfying with its fluid, beautiful parries. There's also a surprising amount of complexity. You have different fighting stances that are unlocked by watching or killing camp leaders, and these have varying degrees of effectiveness depending on the enemy you're fighting. This mechanic truly shines when you're up against a large horde of enemies, and you're constantly changing stances as you move around. It does a lot to make the combat feel fast-paced and keep you on your toes. Besides your standard sword fighting, there are tons of alternate weapons, those being bows, kunais, poison darts, bombs, smoke bombs, and sticky bombs, all combining to give the player a lot of freedom and creativity to kill enemies in different ways. The assassinations are also pretty cool, especially when you upgrade it and can perform triple assassination streaks. There are two more things that we freaking love about this game that we gotta mention. The first one is Mythic Tales. These are the most interesting side quests given by wandering musicians who narrate intriguing folk legends of Tsushima, while some awesome looking old school Japanese art gets displayed on screen. There are a total of 7 Mythic Tales in the game, and each one of them has a cool technique or new gear to set it apart from the rest, like lighting your blade on fire, using explosive arrows, wearing cool armor sets, and performing more awesome sword techniques. We would go as far as to say these Mythic Tales are the best part of the game outside of the main campaign. The second thing we super love are the duels. There are 25 in total, and the settings in the majority of them are astounding. Sucker Punch does a great job to build the tension with these, and with its fast-paced, relentless combat, make you feel the pressure of a real one-on-one life or death duel. They don't give you much time to think, you gotta react fast, and there's even more tension added by the fact that you're locked out of your ghost moves during these, so it's just up to you and your katana. We died a bunch of times, particularly against this one, but you know how it is, each time you die, you become better at timing parries and dodges, so it wasn't frustrating but rather exciting. The only downside the duels have is watching this cutscene more than 20 times. Like, yeah, the first 3 or 4 times it felt epic, but by the 10th we were mashing every single button trying to figure out how to skip. Which you can't, you gotta watch every single one, even if you finish the game and are doing a second playthrough. And we get it, the developers wanted to make sure you stayed engaged with the theme and the story, but that's something you can't really force like that. When you watch the same thing so much, it just loses its oomph. There's no way around that. At the worst, they should have at least given you the option. Also, after playing it enough that you master the fighting mechanics, the enemies become just stupidly easy to beat. Particularly since at this point you have a crazy amount of upgrades at your disposal, so you can literally blast your way through an enemy camp, and if things happen to get complicated, just kunai and bomb your way out. To keep us entertained, we did a self-imposed rule to rely only on our sword, like a true samurai, and thus have it be a bit more challenging. And finally, we know it's not the biggest deal, but we played the game with Japanese dubs. We wanted to get as immersed as possible in the story, and of course it makes more sense for these people to actually speak in Japanese. The moment we saw a trailer talking about it, we thought it a really smart and good addition. We were hyped to play like that, and just read the subtitles like an anime. But it's saddening to say the lip movements are totally out of sync, and it just completely takes you out of it. It looks awkward, makes you realize that this is just that, an additional extra thing to just have it, and works completely against what it was supposed to do, which is immerse you. It's a shame they spent the time and effort directing a whole new VO cast, but did nothing to change the lip syncing. But like we said, these flaws are minor when looking at the overall game. It was amazing and definitely one of the best games we played this year. Sucker Punch really outdid themselves with this one, elevating their studio as a developer that can provide not just good, but great gaming experiences, up there with the likes of other exclusive studios like Insomniac, Naughty Dog, and Sony Santa Monica. The whole world they created is breathtaking, and on top of that, it has an incredible story that truly delivers in the end. So we can't wait to see what more they have in store for us. My friends and homies, you already know what the fuck it is. We're motherfucking Game-Halla. We're primarily off of Instagram. We do quick bite news with captions of our opinions. It's easily digestible news in really nice, presentable ways. Over here on YouTube, we're doing essay videos like this one, discussions about games of the month, and more. Be sure to like and subscribe if you liked it. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, and thank you so much for your time.